Hello everyone, welcome back to the third session on the chapter Biomolecules. Today we learn about some of the polysaccharides and about amino acids. So just a little recap. Last class we learnt about Hayward structure of glucose and Hayward structure of fructose. We learnt about three disaccharides, lactose, maltose and sucrose, and one polysaccharide, that is starch. Today we learn about two more polysaccharides, that is cellulose and glycogen. So the first one, cellulose. Where is cellulose found? It is basically found in plant cell wall. Where is it? In the plant cell wall. Okay. So cell wall of plant cells contain cellulose. Here you can see plant in the cells. In the cell wall there is cellulose fiber. The macrofibril, if you go into deep into the structure of these cellulose fibrils, okay, you can find it is made up of beta D plus glucose units. It's a polymer of beta D plus glucose units. Okay, and here if you see the structure, it is all of this are beta D plus glucose, and there is C1 to C4 glycosidic linkage. You can see here, this is the first carbon atom, this is the second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Similarly, here if I start numbering, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these two are glucose units. The linkage you can see C1 to C4. Okay, there is an oxygen. Such linkage is called as glycosidic linkage. So there is C1 of one glucose unit and C4 of the next glucose units is linked through glycosidic linkage. Okay, that is the structure of cellulose. Next one, I have glycogen. Glycogen is the main storage molecule which is present in animals. Okay, so it is stored in carbohydrate or stored in animal body as glycogen. Hence, it is also called as animal starch. It's also called as what? Animal starch. What is it made up of? It is only made up of alpha D plus glucose unit, and it is similar to the structure of amylopectin. That's the reason it's also called as animal starch. Okay, so if you see the structure here, there are two types of linkage. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, same way here if I number it again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and the glycosidic linkage is between C1 to C4. Okay, C1 to C4 when it is in the straight chain. Whenever there is branching, you can see C1 to C6 linkage is present, and the branching is present for every 8 to 12 molecules. Okay, or 8 to 12 glucose units, you can see there is a branching. The branching is more than compared to amylopectin which is present in starch. Okay, so that is about glycogen. Now see, when body needs glucose, enzymes break glycogen to glucose. So glycogen is stored in our body. Whenever our body will require glucose, glycogen will be broken down to give glucose so that we get energy. Okay, so it is also found in yeast and fungi. That's about the polysaccharide glycogen. Next we will learn about importance of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is very important for us because it acts as a fuel molecule, or it's a main source of energy. It is also an essential for life in both plants and animals. It is present in cell wall of bacteria and also of plant as cellulose. It is the main storage molecule in plants as starch and in animals as glycogen. Okay, and also carbohydrate is found in different biosystem in combination with proteins and lipids. It's also very important component in our DNA and RNA because we have ribose sugar and deoxyribose sugar in nucleic acids. Also, it provides the raw material for many industries like textile, paper, lacquers, breweries, etc. Also, honey was used in Ayurvedic system by Veds because it is the main source of energy which was used in the Ayurvedic system. So that is about the importance of carbohydrates. Next, we'll go to the topic amino acids. Now, what are amino acids and where exactly is it found in our body? Alpha amino acids are the main component or the molecule which forms proteins. More about proteins and structure we learn in the next class. So what are these amino acids? Amino acids contain one amino group and one carboxylic group. Okay. Now here you see the structure. You have the carbon atom. To this carbon atom I have NH2 group which is an amino group. Okay, and to the same carbon atom I have C double bond O OH group which is the carboxylic acid group. So there are two functional groups, one is amine, that is NH2 group, and one COH group which is present on the same carbon atom. That's why we call it as alpha amino acid. This is the alpha carbon atom to which both NH2 group and COH group is added. The other one atom is hydrogen and one we have written as R group, that is the variable group. Now depending on the R group, different R groups, when it comes here we get different types of amino acids. Okay, so this is the basic structure of amino acid. So only alpha amino acids are obtained on hydrolysis of proteins. I told you protein is a polymer of alpha amino acids. So on hydrolysis of proteins we get only alpha amino acids. Amino acids are generally represented by 3-letter symbol or sometimes even 1-letter symbol, which I will explain in the next slide. So here we have 20 amino acids which are naturally occurring. Okay, all the 20 I have put the variable group here. You can see this is the R group which is there in the structure of amino acid, and we have the name of the amino acid, we have the 3-letter symbol as well as a 1-letter code. Okay, so the first one which we have is glycine, where the R group is only hydrogen. Its 3-letter symbol is GLY and single 1-letter code is capital G. The second one is alanine, okay, where R group is CH3 group. The 3-letter word is the first 3 letters, that is ALA, and the single letter code is capital A. The third one is valine, where from here the R groups becomes bigger and bigger. You can see it is CH, CH3 twice. That means it is present like this. It is CH, CH3, CH3, and this is the carbon CH. You have COOH group and NH2 group. So this is the complete structure of valine. 3-letter code is VAL and the single letter code is capital V. Okay, next is leucine. Okay, leucine, you can see it is CH2, CH, CH3, CH3, 2 CH3 groups on the carbon atom, and here the 3-letter code is LEU and the single letter is just L. Okay, the fifth one is isoleucine. You can see here it is CH3, CH. Here you have the alpha carbon atom which is present with NH2 and COH group. You have CH2, CH3. There are 4 carbon atoms. ILE, isoleucine. Okay, we take that first I and LE. Okay, that becomes the 3-letter symbol, and the single letter code is capital I. Next we have phenylalanine. You have a benzene ring also, C6H5 ring, and also a CH2 group, phenylalanine. That is, with alanine, CH3, one hydrogen is substituted by benzene ring. You will get phenylalanine. PHE, that is again the first 3 letters of phenylalanine and the letter F. Okay, because P is used elsewhere, that is the single letter code we are using F. Okay, the next one is tryptophan. Tryptophan, you can see there is a benzene ring with a 5-membered ring in which there is nitrogen, NH group and the CH2 group. Tryptophan, TRP we use because TRY is used elsewhere, so we use TRP, tryptophan, and the single letter is W, again because T we have used elsewhere. Okay, next we have serine. Serine is the one which contains OH group. Please remember, for your competitives they can ask, name an amino acid which contains OH functional group other than NH2 or COH group. So serine is CH2 with OH. It is SER and capital S is the single letter code. Next we have threonine. Okay, again that also contains OH group. It is CH, CH3 with one OH. THR, again first 3 letters, capital T. Okay, last one is glutamine. You have CH2, CH2, CONH2 group is present here. Okay, glutamine contains CONH2 group. GLN, okay, we are using first 3 letters and N. Okay, glutamine, and the 1-letter code is Q. These are the first 10 amino acids. The next 10 amino acids goes this way. Okay, the 11th one we have asparagine, in which again you have CONH2 group which is present. ASN. Okay, wherever remember CONH2 group is there, it is glutamine and asparagine. We are taking the first 2 letters and N. Okay, so ASN and single letter code is capital N again. Then we have cysteine. Cysteine and methionine are the ones which contains sulfur. This is again the question which they can ask for competitives. Name any 2 or 1 mark questions as well. Name any one amino acid which contains sulfur. It can be cysteine or methionine. Cysteine is CH2 and SH, CYS and capital C. So it is CYS with capital C. Methionine, it is CH2, CH2S, CH3. It is MET and capital M. Okay. Next is tyrosine. Tyrosine is CH2, C6H4, OH. This is also one which contains OH group. Okay. It is TYR. I told you it is the first 3 letters. That's why for tryptophan we did not use TYR. Okay. I told you it's used elsewhere. It is used in tyrosine, and Y is the single letter code. Next is histidine, where you have CH2, NH2 nitrogen atoms is there in the 5-membered ring along with CH2 group as side chain. Histidine, HIS and H is the 3-letter symbol and 1-letter code. Next is arginine. Arginine, you can see it contains lot of nitrogen atoms or NH groups. You have CH2 3 times, NH, C, NH2 double bond again NH. Okay, this is arginine. ARG is a 3-letter code and the single letter code is R. Okay. Next is lysine. Lysine, CH2 4 times, NH2. LYS, it is first 3 letters and single letter code is K. Next we have glutamic acid. Okay, it contains COH group, and aspartic acid contains extra COH group. Okay, here you have for glutamic acid CH2, CH2, COH, GLU, and the single letter code is E. Next is aspartic acid, one CH2 group lesser than glutamic acid, it is CH2 COH group, ASP, and D is the single letter code. The last one is proline. This doesn't fit into the structure of the alpha amino acid which I gave, but of course it is an alpha amino acid only. You can see it is carbon with one COH group, one H and NH, and here you have one more CH2, CH2, CH2. So how do I write this? It's this way. It is CH2, I have one more CH2, then I have one NH, one carbon here, one hydrogen here, and one COH group. Okay, it is still an alpha amino acid because carbon I have NH group as well as COH group, but this doesn't completely fit into the structure of the alpha amino acid, the general structure of alpha amino acid, that is proline, 3-letter word PRO, single letter code P. So these are 20 amino acids which are naturally occurring. Okay. Next we learn about the classification of amino acids. Classification of amino acids are of two types. First, based on their chemical nature, we have neutral amino acid, acidic amino acid, and basic amino acid, and based on dietary requirements, that is whether it is synthesized in our body or it has to be consumed through our food. Okay, based on that we have two types, that is essential and non-essential amino acids. So we'll see the first one, that is based on their chemical nature. So based on their chemical nature, there are three types. Neutral amino acids, they contain equal number of amino group and carboxylic group. For example, glycine. I shall write the structure for you all. This is the carbon atom H. H is the variable group. I have one COOH group and I have one NH2 group. This is the structure of amino acid. I have one amino group, one carboxyl group. That's why it is a neutral amino acid. If a amino acid contains more carboxylic group, it becomes acidic. So it contains more carboxyl group than amino group, we call them as acidic amino acids. Example, I shall write the structure of aspartic acid. It is C, okay, this is H, this doesn't change, NH2, COOH. What is the R group for aspartic acid? It is CH2, COOH. Now if you see the structure of aspartic acid, I have two COOH group but only one NH2 group. That makes this acidic. So it is an example for acidic amino acid. Next one is basic amino acid. Now in basic, what should be more? Of course, NH2 group should be more. So it contains more number of amino groups than carboxyl groups. We call them as basic amino acid. Example, lysine. I shall just write the structure and explain. Carbon H, I have one NH2 group. For the same carbon I have COH group. What is the R group for lysine? It is CH2, CH2 3 times and NH2. So I have two NH2 groups but only one COH group, which makes lysine a basic amino acid. So this is based on their chemical nature. Once again, we have neutral amino acid which contains equal number of amino group and carboxyl group. Acidic amino acid, carboxyl groups are more than amino groups, and basic amino acids, amino groups are more than carboxyl groups. So these are the three types of amino acids. Now based on their dietary requirements. Okay, we have two types, essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are those which has to be present in our food because it cannot be synthesized in our body. Okay, so what is it? These are amino acids which cannot be synthesized in the body. They must be taken through food. We have example valine, leucine, lysine, etc. There are many essential amino acids. Okay, same way non-essential amino acids, these are amino acids which can be synthesized in our body. It is not necessary that it should be taken through food. It can be synthesized inside our body. Okay, example, it is glycine and alanine. It is very important question. You need to remember at least minimum 1 or 2 examples for your exam. Okay. Next is property of amino acids. What are the properties? See, they are colorless, they are crystalline solids, they are crystals, okay, they are crystalline solids, they are colorless, they are water soluble but they have a very high melting point and they behave like salts rather than simple amines or carboxylic acids. They do not have property only of amines or only of carboxylic acids. They behave just like a normal inorganic salt. Okay, so they behave like salt rather than amine or carboxylic acids. So they are colorless, crystalline solids, water soluble, has high melting point, behave like salts. And also they are amphoteric in nature. Ampho means they have two types of behavior, that is it can act as an acid as well as a base, then we call it as amphoteric. Okay, amino acids show amphoteric behavior due to the presence of both acidic group, which is acidic group, carboxylic group, and basic group, that is amino group on the same molecule. We know the alpha amino acid structure is like this. This is R, I have COOH group and amino group, correct? Because it contains both, this is acidic group, this is a basic group, it can act as both acid as well as a base. Hence, we call it, it has got amphoteric nature. Okay, next we learn the Zwitter ion form of amino acid. What do you mean by Zwitter ion? See, if we take a amino acid and in the aqueous solution I am dissolving it in water, okay, in that aqueous solution what happens is the carboxyl group hydrogen atom, COH hydrogen atom is lost and the same hydrogen atom will be accepted by amino group. Okay. So what happens here is when the proton transfers from carboxyl group to amino group, carboxyl group will get a negative charge and the amino group will get a positive charge. So this dipolar ion, okay, dipolar because it has got both the poles, it has got positive as well as the negative charge. That's why we call it as dipolar ion, okay, of amino acid molecule is called as Zwitter ion. Okay, so what happens again in aqueous solution, the carboxyl group can lose a proton and amino group can accept a proton, giving rise to dipolar ion known as Zwitter ion. It is neutral, okay, because it contains equal charge, that is one positive charge, one negative charge. So it is neutral molecule containing both positive and negative charge. Okay, now why did that negative sign and the positive sign come up? Just look into this structure very carefully. I have one lone pair of electron on nitrogen. So the hydrogen atom leaves out its electron on the oxygen atom, okay, and the proton H plus ion moves here. These two electrons are used up to accept this proton, that is one electron is given to hydrogen, that is H plus ion, and hence it becomes NH3 with positive charge because it gave away its one electron to proton. to form the bond. Okay, that's why COO minus, one extra electron is there, that's why it gets a negative charge, and here it has lost one electron to proton, that's why nitrogen gets a positive charge. Okay, it is a very, very, very important question for your exam. Okay, they have asked it several times. What is Zwitter ion? You're supposed to write the definition. We are looking for the keyword dipolar ion. What is it? Dipolar ion of an amino acid is known as Zwitter ion. In aqueous solution, carboxyl groups loses a proton and NH2 groups accepts a proton to get a negative charge on the carboxyl group and a positive charge on the amino group, and such dipolar ion is called as a Zwitter ion. You need to write the definition and you need to write the equation for 2 marks. Okay, sometimes it can also be asked for 3 marks. Next we have peptide linkage. Again, from the exam point of view, it is a very important question. What is a peptide bond, or explain about peptide linkage. Okay, what is a peptide bond? Now, it is a bond which is formed between the 2 amino acids. It is a amide bond, that is CONH bond. The definition goes like this: the amide linkage, that is, what is it? Amide linkage is CONH linkage formed between COH group of one molecule of amino acid and NH2 group of another molecule of amino acid by elimination of what? Water molecule is called as peptide linkage. Okay, a dipeptide is made up of 2 amino acid linked by one peptide linkage. What it is, I shall explain. Now, for example, this is glycine. I have NH2, CH2, COH. This is my glycine molecule. Okay, amino acid. Glycine. This is alanine. Alanine has NH2, COH, CH, 1 CH3. R group for alanine is CH3 group. Now, the COH group of glycine and NH2 group of alanine reacts with one another, in which there is removal of water molecule. H2O if I remove, what is remaining? H2 and one oxygen. If I remove, I have CONH. N is there and one hydrogen atom will remain. So that CONH bond is called as peptide bond or peptide linkage. So what was removed here? A water molecule was removed. Okay, so this is a dipeptide. How do we write it? Glycyl alanine. Glycine with alanine will form glycyl alanine. A dipeptide is made up of 2 amino acids. 2 amino acids reacted, that's why the name dipeptide. But how many peptide bond it has got? Only one. See here, only one CONH bond is there. So 2 amino acids is present with one peptide bond in dipeptide. Whereas in tripeptide, there will be 3 amino acids, but how many bonds? 2 peptide bonds. Then we call it as tripeptide. Call it as tripeptide. So you can see a tripeptide contains 3 amino acids linked by 2 peptide linkage. Can you tell me now, in tetrapeptide how many amino acids will be there? Tetra, that means there are 4 amino acids. But how many peptide linkage? One less you have to tell. If there are 4 amino acids, there will be only 3 peptide linkage. Pentapeptide, it will have 5 amino acids, but how many peptide linkage? Only 4 peptide linkage. Always remember the name of the peptide, same number of amino acids will be present, but one less number of peptide linkage will be present. Okay, so this is again a 1 mark question. They can ask the question as, in tripeptide how many peptide linkages are there? It is 2, not 3. There are 3 amino acids, but how many peptide linkage? Only 2. When the number of amino acids are more than 10, then we call it as polypeptides. Okay, when the number of amino acids are more than 10, then we call them as polypeptides. Okay, next class we learn about proteins, classification of proteins, structure of proteins, denaturation of proteins and enzymes. Okay, so see you next class. Stay focused, stay tuned, my dear children.